Hi boys and girls. Today I'm going to do a little mini lesson on equivalent fractions, and I'm going to show you an activity that you're going to do at home on Tuesday and Wednesday. We have a little link to equivalent fractions, and I'm going to show you how to manipulate the tools and how to use it. I know you've been using Pearson, and today I'm going to show you a little bit about equivalent fractions. So let's come take a look. This is what you will see on Tuesday. And the first slide is a video, and you can click play to hear the video.
You can see that they both represent the same part of the circle. That means that the two fractions are equivalent.
Now I'm going to take those two fractions that are equivalent, and on the video they had 1/2 and 2/4. You can tell by looking at the picture that they were equivalent. But I'm going to show you a little tip for my mathematicians out there. I know you love your multiplication, and we've worked so hard on it since the beginning of the year. So I'm going to give you a little tip. Start with the smaller numerator on this side, and then the bigger numerator on that side. So I put 1/2 on this side of my paper because 1 is smaller. And then I put 2/4 on this side of the paper because 2 is bigger. And I'm going to use a little multiplication. And I'm going to say, with a little jump rope, 1 times what is 2? And I hope at home you're saying 1 times 2 is 2. And I bet you did. Now let's take a look at the denominator on this side, which is 2. I can say to myself, 2 times what would give me the product of 4? 2 times, and I hope my mathematician said 2. If you use the same number to multiply the top and the bottom, the numerator and the denominator, then you know that your fractions are equivalent. Now let's take a look at another fraction where this wouldn't work, okay? So let's say if I wanted to compare 7/8 and 3/4. I take a look at these two fractions and say, well, 3 is smaller than 7, so I'm going to start with 3/4 on this side, and I'm going to put 7/8 on this side. I started with my smaller numerator over here. And now I'm going to say, let me practice using the multiplication strategy. 3 times what is 7? And I hope you're seeing a problem here, because 3 times 1 is 3, and 3 times 2 is 6, and 3 times 3 is 9, but there is nothing that will give me a product of 7. So I can't use multiplication here. I can use multiplication on the bottom. 4 times 2 is 8. But if I use times 2 on the top and the bottom, 3 times 2 would not be 7. 3 times 2 would be 6. So these two fractions are not equivalent because I can't multiply the top and the bottom by the same exact number. So this is a little strategy that might help you when you're figuring out these slides. So let's come back and take a look over here at the slides. So the first slide that you're going to see is your video slide, and the second slide looks like this. And this is where you can drag the boxes on the side for the correct answer. So you can take a look here and see that this is 2/5, and you can take a look over here and see that this is 3/10. Now, just looking at it, you can tell that this looks a little bit bigger than this. So by the eye, I can say that these two fractions are not equivalent. But if you want to use that strategy that I just taught you, let's try it. 2/5, 3/10. 2/5, 3/10. So you can say to yourself, 3 is on this side, 2 is on this side because I want the smaller numerator here. 2 times what is 3? nothing. 5 times 2 is 10. But if I use 2 up here, 2 times 2 would be 4. 2/5 and 4/10 would be equivalent, but 3/10 is not equivalent. So when you use the screen, you drag the not equivalent. When I look at 2/6 and 1/3, I can see that this piece and this piece over here look exactly the same. They just separated the green in the blue here to 2 sections. So I am going to say that these 2 fractions are equivalent. And again, boys and girls, I can use that strategy, 2/6, 1/3. But I'm not going to start with 2/6 because 1 has the smaller numerator. So I'm going to put 1/3 and 2/6. And I'm going to say 1 times 2 is 2, and 3 times 2 is 6. I use the same number on the top and on the bottom, so I know that these 2 fractions are equivalent. Okay, as you proceed through the slides, boys and girls, you will see there's a lot of drag and drop. When I go to slide 5, you can drag the numbers here. So you'll look at this fraction and say how many pieces are in here. And then you can drag whatever numbers you want over into these spots, 1 and 12. Obviously, this fraction is not 1/12, but I want to see what you can come up with on your own. And then if you decide, oh, I don't want to put a 1 there, I want to put a 3 there, you can put it back and drag and drop another number into the spot. Okay? Now, there's another slide down here that involves a toolbar that I'd like to show you how you can use that. And it's slide 10. On slide 10, it says, use the line tool. So in order for you to use the line tool, you have to go up into your toolbar. For some of you, it's just going to look like that. It has a little line up there. And to access the line, you can click on it, and then this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces, and 1, 2, 3, 4 are shaded. So I'm looking at 4/8 here, and I'm thinking that this looks about the same size and the same shape. So I would drag and drop and go like that. Now let's say, ooh, I didn't want to put it there. Just click back on the box and press your backspace to delete it. And then you could go back up here to the line and you can click on it. Once you click on it, maybe you want it to draw it here. And then you can always click the backspace to delete it. Now these slides, boys and girls, go all the way down to slide 13. When you get to 12 and 13, it says explain your reasoning. So if you click here, you'll get a box. And you can say, I know this because, and type in your answers there. So that's where you get a chance to actually type in your answers. And slide 13 is exactly the same, where you click and then double click to get your cursor in there, and then you can start typing. All right. Now, boys and girls, I'm just going to show you one more thing before we end our little tutorial here. Whenever you compare fractions, you're going to see a lot of circles on there, but you can use rectangles. As long as your shapes are exactly the same size and the same shape, you can figure out whether 2 fractions are equivalent. So if I take a look and I split this right in half and shade in this section, I could say that this is 1 out of 2, 1/2. And I know that 1/2, 1 is half of 2, and 4 is half of 8. So I can also say that 4/8 is equivalent to 1/2. As long as I'm drawing pictures where the shape is exactly the same size, I can compare to figure out. So I can put this into 4 sections and this into 4 equal sections. And then I can shade in 1, 2, 3, 4, and I can see that they line up. So 1/2 is equal to 4/8. Using multiplication, 1 times 4 is 4, 2 times 4 is 8. I multiplied the top and the bottom by 4. All right, boys and girls, I'm going to end math with a little joke. Give you a little chuckle today. So the teacher said to the student, "Why are you doing your multiplication on the floor?" Now you might want to pause the video and think about that. And you know what the student said? The student said, "Because you told us not to use our tables." Now, boys and girls, I hope you're practicing your multiplication at home every single day so that you don't have to use your multiplication tables. I miss you, and I hope you enjoyed your little video. Have a great day. Bye.